Subscribe to our YouTube channel and press the bell icon to get the latest updates.
Vande Bharat versus Bharat Ke Bande. That is our proposition for this week's national interest. What does this mean? First of all, trust Modi government to create an event out of anything. Second, nobody can beat Modi government when it comes to creating headlines out of nothing and in fact changing the headlines. When the headlines are a little bit bad, they can always figure out a way of changing them. So they've done all of that now by launching this Mission Vande Bharat. What is that? That is to bring back about 1 lakh of Indians, students, expats, families who've been stuck overseas because all global travel stopped in the wake of the COVID crisis. These people are being brought back by special chartered flights, Air India flights, mostly Air India flights. And to be fair, passengers are being charged and they are then going to be put in quarantine, for which also they will pay. Now, if this is happening, the fact is India is not the only country doing it. When this happened, almost every country in the world had some people stuck overseas. Every country has run similar operations to bring them back. But I don't know of any other country which has made an event out of it. Now, for example, Australia, UK, America, they've all had their citizens evacuated from India like this by special flights. But I didn't see hashtags there. I didn't see ministers tweeting there saying, fantastic, what an achievement. So what is this? Are these people just coming home because they were stuck because of a global pandemic? Or are they coming after liberating Muzaffarabad or Skardu or all of Pakistan occupied Kashmir? So I know that I am overstating the point, but this is necessary because you contrast this with what else is happening. Just as about 1 lakh of these people are coming back and this is being celebrated and reception committees are there and TV channels are running wall-to-wall coverage or ball-to-ball coverage like they might do in a cricket match. Now the plane has taken off, now the plane is here, the captain in the plane, his voice is recorded, we are going home, everybody applauds. Again, as if India is coming back after winning the World Cup. You're only coming home because you were stuck outside. You have a right to be happy. But then don't all the tens of lakhs of people who've been walking for 45 days, walking back home from your big cities, back to their villages, this is what we call as migrant labor. Don't they have the right also to go home happily if they wanted to go home? Or don't they also have the right, or didn't they have the right also for the state or the government to help them go home if they wanted to go home, or maybe to reassure them to not go home? So that is the larger question we are raising, because one thing we know about Narendra Modi is that he knows his politics well. If he didn't know his politics, he would not have come this far in Indian politics. He's now won 2 full majorities, he's destroyed all his opposition. He's the most popular leader in India, definitely after Indira Gandhi. But he's also the smartest, I think, in India's independent history. You can compare him with Indira Gandhi, but remember, Indira Gandhi came with an entitled legacy. She had the Gandhi name. Modi didn't have any of that. Modi was a chaiwala. And that is how he structured his politics. But he knows his political instinct. Let me explain. So when he came to Delhi, or when he aimed at Delhi, what is the personality or the brand proposition that he put forward? Number one, that I am a common man. I was a chaiwala. I am not entitled. I did not go to a fancy campus. I don't have a fancy foreign degree. I have not spent my time in Lattian's parlors. I have spent time in every single district of India. In fact, he likes to say that with great pride, and it is deserved pride. So he came in as somebody who knows real India, who knows Bharat. He has kept very close to that. Remember, he says again and again that my adversaries, they want me out of power. So what if I lose power? It will mean nothing to me. हम तो झोला लेके चले जाएंगे. I'll pick up my jhola, my bag and go away. What does a fakir have to lose? So this is the brand proposition that a large majority of Indian voters, especially in the Hindi heartland, have admired about Modi, and that's the reason they voted for him in such large numbers, walking across their old battlements and trenches and bunkers of caste and ethnicity, etc., etc. Then, if you again go ahead beyond this, what are the three main strengths of brand Modi? And I list them in an ascending order of importance. So, the very important but the least important of the three is his oratory and his communication skill. Very important. So, that's one. That's one. What is second? Second is aura of power and decisiveness. कि Modi डरता नहीं है, and once Modi decides on something, he doesn't change his mind on it. But third, most important is that I am a common man like you. I understand you poor people, and that's where I said his whole proposition that I am a fakir. Like a fakir, I'll pick up my jhola and go away. That is then seen by the voters as everything that the Gandhis aren't, or that he isn't anything that the Gandhis are. So this is Modi, the chaiwala versus Latyanska, Gandhis and the rest. This is what has worked for him, and he's been very careful about this because his political instinct is very good. See, the moment he was attacked with that suit boot epithet, he immediately recoiled and he corrected. In fact, he overcorrected himself. So much so that not only did he drop that land acquisition bill, in fact, the only major decision that he took, which he pulled back on and has never dared to bring it back again after that. But also he changed his entire political economy, his approach to political economy. He junked the Gujarat model. He stopped making fun of Manrega. In fact, he spent more money in Manrega. He started other schemes to send money directly to farmers, PM Kisan scheme, etc., etc. So he went the full povertarian route after that. Why did he do that? Because he understands politics. Or so we thought. In fact, even his adversaries accept that he understands politics. Then, how has his government fallen into this trap now? You have minister after minister writing tweets welcoming these people. You find his government, his party is celebrating this as a great achievement. Never mind that every country in the world is doing it. Never mind that our country also did this at a much larger scale in 1991, although maybe today's generation would think that Akshay Kumar did that, like in his movie Airlift. So maybe after Akshay Kumar, the first time India is bringing back so many people from overseas. But you are building people from overseas in tens of thousands. What about these millions who are walking back home? First of all, if you hear all of Narendra Modi's speeches since the corona crisis, even his Mann Ki Baat, it does look like he never addressed these poor people. There was never a line to say either that, listen, you stay put, this is a temporary dislocation, your jobs will be back, economic activity will be resumed in the course of time. Maybe reach out to their employers and say, keep paying these people, because if they start walking back, it will be bad, it will be a humiliation for them, it bring great degree of discomfort, inconvenience, pain on them, and they may take the virus home. But nothing was done. All his messaging seems to have been directed at what I call as the balconied class of Indians. So it's as if suddenly in its 6th year, the BJP under Narendra Modi came to the conclusion that real India lives in homes which have balconies and verandas. That's very few Indians. A very large number of Indians, much larger number of Indians either don't have a home, or they don't have a non-leaking roof over them, or they can't tell the difference between what is outside and what is inside their homes. So it does look like this definition of the audience he was trying to reach had changed completely from his election campaign last year to now. And that is where we stand today. So you have a situation where millions of these people are still walking back. Nobody is offering them food, maybe some people here and there. For 45 days, nobody offered them transport. Now some trains have been made available after 6 full weeks. They've been walking for 6 weeks, and some trains have become, and some are cycling. Some trains have become available, and then the state governments and central government are fighting over who will pay for their tickets. Now, you can say that people who are coming from overseas are paying for their plane tickets. They are paying for their quarantine, but they are Indians who can afford to do it. What about Indians who can't afford to do it? And frankly, when these people started walking back, did anybody ask them that, listen, we can get you trains and buses, you might have to pay something? I think a lot of them, most of them would have agreed to do so as well. So why do you deny them the dignity that should have been their fundamental right in this case, whereas you offer the same dignity to richer, well-to-do Indians and then celebrate that as a great success? That's why we say that Modi government, it looks like, is losing its political instinct in its 6th year. And that's why we call it a case of Vande Bharat versus Bharat ke Bande. Because people who are walking back, the type of people who are walking back are much more numerous than the balconied classes. In fact, Narendra Modi has his second majority essentially because of these people who are now being subjected to not just this mass discomfort and mass pain, but also mass humiliation, because they are all self-respecting, wage-earning, hard-working Indians. This is no way to treat them.